What's up, guys, and Happy New Year! This is Mari, and I am Jerome from We Are the Bonsai Supply, and welcome to our new segment called Coffee with Mari and Jerome.
So it's 2021, and we thought it would be a fresh idea to bring some of our bonsai friends and share with you their experience, to learn more about them, and just to have a good time with bonsai and coffee. So
Yes.
let's see who was our first guest.
Hi everyone, Nigel Saunders here.
There you go.
There you
I love
go.
it.
So,
Hi guys, good to see you.
good to see you too, Nigel. Welcome. And so I guess the first question has to be, how do you like your coffee?
I take it. I drink decaf coffee, and I have a bit of cream in it.
Okay.
That's very exciting, Nigel.
And I don't drink coffee very often. Yeah, I guess I just natural energy, I suppose. So what I do is about once a month, I go down to this coffee shop in my hometown here that makes the best coffee, and I get a decaf cappuccino.
Ooh, okay.
It's fantastic. Yeah. And the funny thing is, if I do drink a coffee, like a regular coffee, if I have one cup, maybe at like 10 o'clock in the morning, I'll be up to like 2 in the nighttime.
Oh, wow.
Can't sleep. It just hits me like.
I feel if you don't drink it as often, then it has the effect.
Yeah.
Now that we drink it like every day, we don't really feel it.
No, we don't. It's kind of like habit, You wake up, you have your first cup of coffee, and you go water your trees, and so it becomes like that routine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
I know.
I do keep it like once a day, but this one is like
Well,
20 times a day.
Well, I'm European. That's what we do. We drink coffee to recover from the coffee,
Exactly.
That's what we do.
Oh, and talking about that, Nigel, I think you are from Switzerland too, right? Is that what you told us the other
I was born in Switzerland, and my parents were Australian, so I took on the nationality of my parents. So I'm Australian, even though I've never been to Australia.
Okay.
But did you grow up in Switzerland, or?
Sorry, what was that, Jerome?
Did you grow up in Switzerland?
I was in Switzerland for, I think, 3 years.
Okay.
We moved to Wales and lived there for a couple of years, and then we moved to Canada.
And where in Switzerland did you grow up?
I can't tell you, Jerome. I was born in Winterthur.
That's exactly where I'm from, actually.
Yeah,
honestly, that's where I'm from. I always tell people I'm from Zurich because nobody knows Winterthur,
Okay.
But that's where I'm from, too. What a coincidence. This is awesome because usually when we're out, she always meets Hispanics or Venezuelans, and, they're like, hey, what's going on? Where are you from? And it's an instant friendship, and I always tell her, I can't wait for the day until I'm like, so where are you from? Oh, you're from Switzerland, too? Oh, my God, So it happened. It happened. I know, right? And I've been here for now 14 years in this country, and this is the first time it happened. So,
well, there you
it's
go.
exciting, yeah.
So everybody out there, if you're Swiss and you're living in the United States or just outside Switzerland, let Jerome know so he knows he has a pass.
There we go.
I feel a little alone.
How did you get started in bonsai? Like, how did you know, like, oh, I wanted to do this for the long term?
Well, bonsai kind of found me. I was working in an office, and we were given these poinsettias as Christmas gifts. So we put them on our desk. And out of the pot, this little something started growing, and I thought, well, I'll just let it grow and see what it turns into. And it started growing, and it kind of got a woody trunk, and I thought, it's kind of looking like a little tree. I thought it was some weed or something, and the longer I let it grow, the more tree-like it became. And then I thought, oh, I really like this little tree. I'll put it in its own pot. And I did that. I just repotted it. And then it started to grow even more. And it started to get really big and started to get a little big for my window at work. Well, I've got to prune it, but I don't want to kill it or anything. So I went to the bookstore to get a book on pruning. And somehow I stumbled into the gardening section with bonsai, and I opened up a bonsai book and went, oh, wow, I didn't know this was a thing, pruning trees to keep them small. And it just, I don't know, it was just like turning a switch on. And I don't know, a week later, I had like 20 trees.
Wow.
And,
So
and
you
then
caught the
grew
bug.
from there. And I would say, my enthusiasm for bonsai grew as the trees grew. When you start out, you've got sticks in pots and rough nursery stock and things like that. And you keep them alive, but you don't really fall in love with them. But then as they start growing and maturing and the more work you put in them, the more you enjoy them and you appreciate them.
They become
And
like family, right?
your level of enthusiasm grows as the trees grow older and you grow older, I think it's,
So how long ago was this, Nigel?
that was, I guess, about 20 years ago.
How long?
Yeah. 27 years.
20 years ago, wow.
27 years I've been into bonsai.
So that's true love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I noticed that you start a lot of trees from like seedlings or cuttings. Is there a reason behind that? Like, do you prefer to grow them over a long period of time and control everything, or?
I find the younger you start a plant, the more you can develop it how you want it. Mm-hmm. Whereas if you start with an older plant, a lot of the structure in that and the roots are set in stone at that point in time. So I prefer to start them as young as I can reasonably, and then develop it slowly into something that satisfies me. I have a hard time. I like the trees to have nicer root system and a nice trunk and nice branch structure, and I try and develop all those things equally. I don't like trees that look fantastic on top but have a poor root system.
So you're really into it for the long run, then?
Yeah, and I like the process of developing the trees. It's nice to get something that looks really nice, a finished sort of tree. Mm-hmm. I enjoy growing seedlings. I enjoy pruning small trees, and I like that. I guess I like the process of seeing something change from something insignificant to something significant. I like that progression, and that's kind of what my channel's been about, is to show the progression of trees from either seeds or cuttings or nursery stock, showing how they can progress over the years and what steps you have to do to get them to that stage.
Yeah, we have a lot of people that also ask us like, hey, I want to grow a tree from a seed or a seedling, but I don't think they understand how long it takes to get from a seed to like what you can call a bonsai, where you have a nice trunk and nice root base. And in the tropics, the trees would grow, 4, 5, 6 feet a year. But you're in Canada, so you get a lot less growth than we do in the tropics.
Yeah, they're Canadian years up here.
Yeah,
dog years.
Do you have a favorite type of tree without the trees being offended in the back?
Yeah. Well, I know there's some that are easier to grow than others, and I found in this hobby. I'm going to answer this in a roundabout way. There's some species that are very difficult to grow, and you might have luck with them for 10 years, mm-hmm. and you'll miss that watering one time, or you'll miss bringing them in out of the sun the one time, and then they die. And then you kind of think, well, was it worth growing that really difficult species, putting all that work into it, and having it die because of one incident? So I tend to like trees that grow well in this environment. And I find most trees that grow well here are African trees. I find they seem to be able to go down right to, almost freezing. Some can go below, like even jades can take a little bit of freezing. Sorry.
That tree that you have in the back, so it's like a jade forest?
Yep. Yeah, that's a Portulacaria afra. Mm-hmm. Wait, I was just working that the other day. Yeah.
Oh yeah, can you tell us a little bit about it? Little story about it?
It started, this was my first tree, and it started from a little tiny cutting I got off someone at a club meeting. Oh. And I planted it in this little pot, and every time I pruned it, I stuck the cuttings in and made a forest. It slowly got larger and larger over the years, to the point where it was in a fairly big pot. And then I thought, well, I can't just keep letting it grow larger every year. So I've never really hard pruned it before. So I thought, okay, I've got to hard prune it back. And I did. I pruned it down back to stumps, no foliage at all, and hoped it would live. And it did. It re-sprouted again. And so it's on its third or fourth hard pruning now. The trunks are getting thicker and it's still staying about the same size. I find forests they're quite a bit different from a bonsai that's just by itself. You have to control the size of the tree because the trees are planted beside each other, and if one goes too big and beside the next one, they all start interfering with each other. So it's almost like you have to keep them within a certain envelope of size. Otherwise, you've got to just keep repotting them into bigger pots, and the forest just gets bigger and bigger.
How would you define your approach? You know, some people will say, I follow the Japanese rules or this and this.
Yes. I see my style in bonsai is I try and create a tree you'd see in nature in miniature. That's basically my philosophy. It sounds simple, but and a lot of people say, well, that's not very artistic to do that.
I think it's more difficult.
In nature and kind of recreate a scene, I think it takes quite a bit of art. Sometimes I tell people sometimes the hardest thing in bonsai is to make your bonsai look like a tree. Yeah. John Naka was famous for that, saying make your bonsai look like a tree, not like a bonsai. And I find I do not like the bonsai that look like bonsai. One of my least favorite styles is the big, massive tapered trunks with the layered canopy.
Triangles.
It doesn't look. Someone had a comment on our video recently that said if you took that tree and blew it up in size and put it in nature or in the city or something, it would look ridiculous. It wouldn't look like a tree at all.
Yeah.
And so my ideal bonsai would be to take a photograph of my bonsai and Photoshop it into nature, and it should blend in nicely. It should look like a tree. Now, it can be a wild-looking tree. It can be windswept. It can have deadwood. But it should look something like something natural that, I mean, there's a lot of bizarre trees in nature that have undergone all kinds of weird conditions, and they've grown in strange forms. But the tree, to me, should still look natural. It shouldn't have a trunk that looks like, a mountain. Mount Fuji?
Yeah.
It should look like somewhat natural. I'm not one for the big exaggerated trunks, and so my philosophy is it should be a miniature version of a tree you could see in nature or in your imagination.
Is this the reason why you also choose not to wire your trees? Because I know that's what you're really well known for.
Yeah, I do occasionally wire, but I try and grow the trees clip and grow. Clip and grow, every time you prune the branch, you get a change of direction, taper, and possibly further branching. And I find it just looks more natural in the end. Now, wiring can look very natural if it's done correctly. I've seen wired trees. I call them spaghetti trees because they look like they've got all these curves. There's not a straight section to the branch. It reminds me of that spaghetti art that my kids do with macaroni, where they join all the little together. So it's all wavy. And if you look at trees in nature, and I encourage everyone to do this, is to study the tree's natural form before you create a bonsai of it, and try and get that style. So wiring, it can take some of that natural style out of the tree. And I find a lot of people will wire this straight branch that has no taper, change of taper, and they'll wire it into a form, and it makes the tree more compact, and it puts movement in it. But the branch then doesn't have a natural feel to it, because in nature, every change of direction is because something happened to that branch. It either flowered or it the tip was killed in a storm or frost or something, or it's the seasonal change each year where it changes direction, changes taper. And so I just find clip and grow can give you a really natural tree like or branch like structure and trunk and everything. Wiring, I like wiring for positioning branches, fine tuning and that, but I prefer to develop the tree with clip and grow and then refine it with wires, I guess what I'm saying.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not opposed to wiring if it's done to position branches. I think too, wiring gives you your view of what the tree should look like. Mm-hmm. So in my mind, I want this perfect tree. But in nature, trees aren't perfect. And I think if you start wiring a tree, then you're going to end up with your idea of what the tree should look like and less of the tree's idea of what it wants to look like. I think there's clip and grow is sort of halfway between where you're kind of controlling the growth, but you're not forcing it to go where the tree doesn't want to grow.
If you want to make a bonsai look like a bonsai, then you really have to wire more versus if you want to make the bonsai look like a tree. And there's no right or wrong. Some people really like the bonsai look, and I also have trees that are they look like a bonsai, you know, and that's fine, you know, whatever floats your boat, so to say.
I think it's good to try out different styles in that. I don't know if I have any cascade trees, and I should have, you know, examples of each kind of style that I grow, but I guess I'm just sort of naturally drawn to a certain style, and I generally do. But we should break out of our mold and try and expand our variety a bit and try new things, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, like I feel Jerome is very emotional, like, and he tries styles depending on the time of the mood. Like, you know, one time we had a hurricane, so everything was windswept. He was doing everything windswept, and I'm like, he just felt like, you know, the hurricane time, so he did that. And so on. It's fun, like, to
that is very true.
Around. Yeah, I was gonna say you are very resourceful, so in general, and very patient, and all of this. And I want to know now, with this being said, if you have a phone now.
No, I don't have a cell phone.
No.
You guys suggested I get one, but I never did get one.
So see, like, you are the perfect example of being resourceful and patient. Because Nigel doesn't even have a phone, you guys. You know, and he still managed to, like, do all of this great work and his videos and everything. So, like, you are so impressive just for that. Like, I can't believe you don't have a phone. Like, we use, you know, millennials or whatever, our phones so much. And I love for research. Research in this thing. So I see how you also go the extra mile to learn to do this, not even having a phone. And, well, at least you're, great with computers, for sure.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But, so people, if you're watching, there are people out there like Nigel still without a phone or social media. Do you have social media besides YouTube now?
Do they have social media with YouTube? Or
do you have social media besides YouTube now?
No. See? No, I just do YouTube. That's it. And I often get asked, am I on Facebook or Instagram or whatever?
We need you on social media.
I don't have time. The last 27 days I've been putting out a video every day.
I know, I've seen that. Wow, that's a lot of work. Yeah.
And I read all the comments, but I don't get time to respond to them all.
Whenever, if you are like, one day I'm bored, I'm going to open a Facebook or an Instagram, you have to promise me you're going to let me know first so I can be your first follower.
Okay.
I want to know for 2021, what can people expect on your videos? You're still going to do one a day? Is that your commitment for 2021?
I don't think I'll be able to keep it up.
That's a big task.
By the time you make a video, it's 3 or 4 hours or maybe more of videoing, and then a couple hours of editing, and then you have to combine all the clips into a movie, and then you've got to post it and add your thumbnails and descriptions, do the premiere, and it pretty well takes from morning till late at night to do each video.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and do more videos, but I can't guarantee that one a day. I think it might be one every 2 days or 3 days.
Okay.
Yeah, but in 2020, I've got a lot of projects for this coming year. I have my greenhouse I want to get up in the backyard. I've got to finish this plant room. As you can see, the walls are they're not finished yet. And what else? I got to get my Porsche going. I've got a Porsche 911 in the backyard that's got to get that running.
Nice.
Okay.
And lots of tree stuff. I'm hoping backyard tours again this summer. Even if I have to wear a mask or whatever, but a little more traveling, I think.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a busy year. That's why I'm doing all these videos now, because I want to get all my trees in shape for spring. And so I'll have less work to do in the summer and do it all now in the winter. It's going to be a busy year. Lots of videos coming up, that's for sure.
Good.
Awesome.
And hopefully I'll stay healthy too.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
please.
That's all we need
But, yeah.
this year. One quick thing that I forgot to ask you. If there's an advice of something that you know now that you wish you knew earlier, that you can give to anybody watching this video. Just something that you have learned in your journey that like you wish you just had known early in the days.
The most important thing is respecting the health of the tree, I think. In the early days, I think when most people start out in bonsai, they don't let the tree get strong enough. I think that's the number one cause of death is, you're overwatering, you're over pruning, overwiring. You're trying to do everything at once and trying to get the tree perfect. And I think you've got to be patient. And patience is something, I guess you learn as you go. If you over prune a tree and it gets weak and dies, I see a lot of people, they prune their tree down and then it gets attacked by insects and it dies because it's weak. And learning to keep your tree healthy is the hardest thing in bonsai. Giving it good conditions, letting it recover and get vigor back. It's easy to prune a tree, but it's hard to let it grow and become healthy. You just want to touch it. And so I think that's the biggest lesson, is that you've got to let the tree do its thing. It's got to grow and become healthy before you even touch it. Don't touch a weak tree. And then, all the standard horticultural principles are learned. I would say when I got into bonsai, I was more on the artistic side than the horticultural side. So now I'm trying to bring my horticultural side up to my artistic side so they're kind of balanced. And I think I'm getting there now, but I still kill trees. It's sad, but I don't know. Two, you have to have realistic expectations for bonsai. I see a lot of people buy these seed kits. Bonsai tree, they show this magnificent maple on the cover that is probably 100 years old and being developed for, an absolute masterpiece that would be, one of the top trees in Japan, and they sell these little seeds and people think just plant the seed and let it grow and it's going to look like that.
In a week's time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Or a couple of years even. They think the tree's going to grow like that itself. And so I think people have to have realistic expectations that, if you start a tree from a seed, it's going to take 20 years before it becomes a nice bonsai.
Yeah.
And there's nothing you can do to speed up the process. That's another thing I find is a lot of people are always looking for the secret or the shortcut.
Yes, the secret is if you want a really nice tree overnight, you have to go buy one. That's the secret.
Yes, that's the secret.
Somebody else
Yeah,
did that.
exactly.
But that can be, people are always surprised how expensive bonsai can be. If you buy a really nice tree that has been developed, you can be shocked at the tree, and it's worth it because it's been developed for such a long time. But that's the only shortcut there is.
Bonsai are bargains. If I think over 25 years how many times I've watered that tree and just add up the minutes.
Yeah.
You couldn't pay for it.
It
would be like a house.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So they're a bargain no matter what price.
They are. Definitely.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Nigel, for meeting us this morning and being our first guest. This was so fun.
That's an honor.
Yeah.
And it's a pleasure for us to be doing this with you and to hear all the great stories and insights on your journey. And you are one of our most fun bonsai friends, I have to say. It's always fun.
Thank you very much for having me on. It's been a pleasure.
To our new segment called Mari and Jerome Coffee. Oh, it's Coffee with Mari and Jerome. Let me start over. I'm sorry. Coffee with Mari and Jerome. Coffee with Mari and Jerome. So this is our new segment where we...
I was going to say that.
Oh, I thought I was going to do the whole beginning.
Nigel, this is the story of my life. He never let me talk. So I guess my next question...
What was the question again?